The same fake news media that for 4 years lied, ignored, or covered up for sleepy Joe Biden's decline has made it a new mission to portray President Trump as an old man with failing health and to question whether he's fit enough to serve for another 3 years. In an effort to silence his naysayers, the president spoke to the Wall Street Journal about his health. In an interview published today, he mockingly tells the Journal, "Let's talk about health again for the 25th time," adding, "My health is perfect." The president responded to the concerns about his hands being bruised or discolored by saying he takes large doses of aspirin daily. "They say aspirin is good for thinning out the blood, and I don't want thick blood pouring through my heart. They'd rather have me take the smaller one. I take the larger one, but I've done it for years, and what it does is it causes bruising," Trump says. He isn't interested in an exercise routine other than golf, saying, "I just don't like it. It's boring. To walk on a treadmill or run on a treadmill for hours and hours like some people do, that's not for me." That sounds like a quote from Matthew Foldy.
That is for me, though.
Okay.
I actually only run half marathons while on treadmills, and what I do is I watch a movie. It keeps me entertained while I go the distance, as they would say in Hercules. And honestly, this goes back to what we've talked about with the Biden health cover-up, which is the Democrats and the media's telltale heart. And what I think you're seeing here is these Wall Street Journal reporters trying to make up for being a part of the same cover-up that the whole White House press corps was in on for 4 years, where they told us the impossible, that Joe Biden is a fitter man than Tom Brady. No one is a fitter man than Tom Brady. And that he is smarter than Einstein, when that was never the case. This is a guy who was last in his law school class, which he lied about as well. Now they're trying to make age a thing with Trump. Trump is older than we are.
Yeah.
But he's certainly more energetic than I am, even now. There's no question about it.
There's no question. And he's incredibly engaged intellectually.
And we saw him at the Kennedy Center, the Trump Kennedy Center honors last year, and he was amazing.
Cheryl, I mean, obviously the media is going to ask these questions about health. They didn't do that under Joe Biden. Right. But the president's I think he was almost having fun with this interview, it sounds like.
Well, I think he was having fun with it, right? Because he knows he has nothing to worry about here when it comes to comparisons with health between himself and the last administration. Joe Biden just was walking dead half the time. So, look, Trump doesn't have anything to prove insofar as his health. We can all see and watch and feel energized just by watching all that he accomplishes each day.
The president is famous for not needing a lot of sleep, telling the Journal, "I've never been a big sleeper." The outlet writes that sleeping is a particular issue aboard Air Force One, where Trump keeps his advisors awake, according to aides. Top staff take turns sitting with him on long trips, rotating so that others can sleep while one person remains by his side, according to White House officials. The president is known to poke fun at aides for falling asleep. Okay, so Jason, you're probably the healthiest one out of all of us on this whole entire panel. I don't know. I mean, you do your exercise.
They run marathons.
What would be your advice to President Trump?
My advice would be, of course, to be honest with the American people. I know sometimes he's a little incapable of that. But I would say keep playing golf if he wants to stay healthy. I think you do things that you enjoy. But I do think those bruises on his hands are not from aspirin. That usually comes from an IV. And he got an MRI. Why doesn't he tell us what the MRI is for? Now, he has medical privacy. I'm a big believer in that. I felt that way about former Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin as well. You are allowed to have that privacy. But if you're going to tell us you're in perfect health, then let us know why you had that MRI and what it was on.
Well, it's interesting because he did address that issue of the CT scan in October, where he said, in retrospect, it's too bad I took it because it gave them a little ammunition. I would have been a lot better off if they didn't, because the fact that I took it said, "Oh, gee, is something wrong?" Well, nothing's wrong.
I don't know.
Alex,
tell us what it was.
I'm over here coughing, so I'm like, he's definitely healthier than me. One of the things also, too, Foley, I think he drinks so much Diet Coke. You drink so much Diet Coke. Yeah. Maybe that's a good sign for your future.
Thank you so much for saying that.
That is not a good idea.
In 2026, we need more Diet Coke.
Oh, boy.
One of the things that I think is just refreshing about this whole situation is that we actually have a president addressing his health, speaking openly to the press about it. For how many years did we have them? 4 years. That they would come out and say, no, everything's fine. the president wouldn't take any questions
That's what
about
he's
it.
saying, though. That's exactly
But
what
he's the
saying.
one answering. He's the one
He
coming
literally
forward.
told us he's taking
showing
the bigger
okay.
aspirin and not the smaller aspirin.
But he won't
I-
tell us what the MRI
The
or
other
the
thing
CT
too,
scan
though,
was for.
The doctor
Mercy, I
addressed
hate to
that,
put you
yes.
on the hot seat, but
What?
since you were in the first Trump
Yes.
administration, I mean, what we're seeing about the aides, like, I mean, it's hard to keep up with him, right? I remember you talking about how he works all the time.
Yeah, we would walk in, or I would walk in the morning to go see him, and he would be already had circled all these articles. He's like, you need to call this reporter, you need to do this, you need to do that. The amount of, I really do think that keeping your brain just engaged is so critical, and I think for President Trump, it's one of the reasons why he's been able to. And he doesn't drink alcohol, he doesn't smoke. I mean, I got to tell you, he's really.
Trump and I both
his
love
health-
Diet Coke and Alex Sawyer's book. And I just want to say, I fell asleep on the plane with Pam Bondi when we were flying to Memphis. If I were working for Trump, I would be worked to the bone.
You
I'd
would be
completely
fired.
And
exhausted.
You would
it's
be
not
out
the
of here.
length of your sleep, it's the quality.
Can't fall asleep on the job.